Hello and welcome back to the Commander Lurpack YouTube channel. In today's video I'll be showing you how I make a Warhammer 40k ammo dump using a Munitorium crate, some polystyrene and a bandage. Hope you enjoy the video. So to start with, you want to get yourself a Munitorium container set, and in this container set there will be 4 of these ammo crate containers. And with these we are going to turn it into an ammo dump. So next you want to get some cardboard that's shiny on one side and got the porous side on the other. This is just what I've been using as a backing for spray paint, and I've cut out just a rough square on the cardboard, and this is going to be the base for our ammo dump. The reason I'm using cardboard is it's nice and thin, and it will blend in nicely with the board. Next up we want to get some polystyrene. Now this polystyrene here is ideal because it is roughly the same thickness as the ammo crate. And what we're going to do is we are going to duplicate this ammo crate multiple times using the polystyrene. So you can turn it over and press it into the polystyrene, and this gives you a rough guide for how big the ammo crate is, and you can cut out duplicates. This way we can turn the 4 ammo crates in the Munitorium container set into many ammo crates in the ammo dump. So all of this is going to be covered in that camo netting, so it doesn't matter that it's just polystyrene, only the size and shape of it is what is going to be seen. So now we're going to cut these out using a hobby knife. A lot of people say don't use polystyrene for hobby because you get this effect when you don't get a nice cut. However, if you use a sawing motion when cutting the polystyrene, like so, you get a nice clean cut. So now we've got our polystyrene crates all done. We're going to stick them to our base using Yoo-hoo glue, and we're going to arrange them in a way that makes them look like stacked crates. And we're going to try and tier it so that it staggers inwards like a pyramid. This way, when we drape the camo netting over the top, we can mould it nicely to the contours of the crates, and it hopefully should be a bit more obvious that there's crates underneath. You want to make sure that your Games Workshop ammo crate is on the edge at the bottom, so we can have this partly tucked underneath the camo netting so that you know what's underneath the rest of it. So when we put this camo netting over the top, you'll see just the Games Workshop crate poking out, and all of this will be covered up. So let's get this stuck down. So I'm going to go for a 3-tier ammo crate. It's always handy to get a model and see what sort of scale you're looking at. So I want this to be line of sight blocking. So we need to make sure that it's at least 2 or 3 tiers, so the infantry have to move around it in order to take shots or be shot at. And I'm just going to offset this one so that when we fold the camo netting over the top, you have that box shape obvious underneath. So as per usual, my camera's tried to sabotage the video and hasn't recorded, but all I've done as the next step, once I finish building the ammo crate polystyrene stack, is I've got some Mod Podge, or if you don't have Mod Podge you can just use PVA glue, and I've just started coating all of the polystyrene and the cardboard with it. This will seal in the polystyrene, make it harder and a bit stronger, and when you come to paint it, it means that the paint won't just sap into it or melt it, which can happen. So that's all I'm doing now, so hopefully my camera doesn't cut out again. But as you can see, that's the size of the ammo dump that I've gone for, just enough to block line of sight on a man from other infantry, but then like tanks will still be visible over the top. So let's carry on with painting the Mod Podge. So now that the Mod Podge has dried and it's made the polystyrene go much harder, we're going to use some cheap black acrylic paint just to give it all the coverage, so that any of the crates that poke through the camo netting aren't a nice bright white, which will look a bit strange. So it's all dried now and it's got a rough coverage of black, so there's not really any white to poke through the camo netting. Now for the camo netting, I'm using a medical prep bandage, and you get 4 meters in one of these little packets. It's only £1. And I think that once it's stretched out over the top of the crates, it begins to look like camo netting. And what we're going to do is essentially mold this bandage to the contours of the crates so that you can see the boxes underneath, but make sure that we leave the actual ammo crate poking out so that we know what is actually underneath the camo netting by seeing this one. And we're going to do this twice so that it covers the 2 halves of it. In order to stick it down onto the ammo crates, I have made a mixture of PVA glue mixed with water, and we're going to cut this bandage to size, dip it in here, and then mould it over the top and let it dry. Just gonna shake off the excess watery PVA, so we don't want to drench our ammo crates. And now we're gonna apply it to the ammo dump, just making sure to work from the bottom of your ammo dump upwards. And I'm just making sure that this ammo crate is poking out so that we know what's it's meant to be underneath this camo netting. And I'm just gently moulding camo netting to the contours of the boxes to give the impression that there's loads of these ammo crates hidden away underneath. Camo netting. Something like that. So I'm going to do that again on the other side, just to completely cover it. So now I've done both sides of the ammo dump with the camo netting, and while it's still drying, I'm just gonna go over the top with this PVA water mixture again, just to help it give it a bit more strength to it. Don't want to absolutely drown it, just give it a light coating with the brush and this will help it secure. So the PVA mixture on the camo netting has dried, and now I've just made up a black wash using that acrylic craft paint again, just by watering it down, and we're just going to apply this moderately across the camo netting. I've watered it down so it doesn't clog up the gaps in the camo netting too much, but I just want to give the camo netting a black base coat for us to then apply a dry brush of like green and brown to try and make it a bit more camouflaged. So I haven't given it a complete coverage with the black because the white will give it some variation when I do the dry brushing of green over the top, and will give it a bit of a variation in hue. So now I'm going to use an acrylic green and a fan brush. Any sort of like dry brush, flat brush will work, and we're just going to dry brush this green over the top in patches, not looking for an even coverage. So I've just finished doing the green dry brush and it's starting to look a lot more like camo netting. Quite happy with this. We're gonna do the same again but with a brown, and we're gonna apply this in all the areas where the white is poking through, and this will just give it a bit of colour variation. So the camo netting is pretty much painted now, so it's just a variation of green, brown and black, and I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. Just going to pop a guardsman on so you can see the sense of scale, and I think this is going to work quite well as a piece of scatter terrain. Next step will be to paint the actual ammo crate that you can see, and also paint the base. So we're going to paint this ammo crate next using this small flat brush. We're going to be using that brown acrylic paint again. So after dry brushing it brown, I'm then going to sponge on a little bit of silver, and again I'm just going to use a cheap acrylic craft paint. This one is a silver. So using the silver acrylic paint, removing most of it from the brush, just gonna stipple on around the edges of the box where we would expect some chipping to happen. So that's all the silver done. Next step will be to get some orange and stipple on some areas of rust. So again, this is just some cheap acrylic craft paint, and we're just going to stipple this on. Just a couple of areas where you think some rust might accumulate. I think that will do. And then all we're going to do is paint the double-headed Aquila white, and the crate will be done. So again, using a cheap acrylic white, just going to dry brush this on to the Aquila. I'm dry brushing it because I want it to be a bit worn and patchy rather than a nice even finish. And there you have it, my finished ammo crate. Now we're going to move on to painting the base. So I've decided to cut away the excess base and basically just cut it to the shape of the ammo dump. I've done this because I felt that it looked a bit weird having it as a square when the ammo dump was very much not a square. And this way it's a bit less distracting when you put it on the board and have like models next to it. They can move right up to the base of it and it not be an issue. The little bit of base that is going to be visible around the edge, I'm just going to paint brown. So now that the base is painted brown, we're now going to move on to one of my favourite paints, which is Vallejo Thick European Mud. And we're just going to put this onto the base to cover the brown. We're just going to stipple this on, and this will just give it a bit of texture and help it blend with the rest of the board. And with the mud all put on, the ammo dump is now finished. Pretty happy with how it's come out. I think it will be a nice bit of scatter terrain for the board. I'll do some fancy shots now, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested, I upload new content on the first Sunday of every month. So check back next month on the first Sunday to see what other nonsense I've come up with. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Why did you say what you're using? You said you want to keep it a secret.
I want to intrigue people.
Oh, okay.
Not like telling them how to do it. I'm just like, people will be like, how did the pieces go together? I just don't understand. I must know more.
Keep that in.
It was just recording.